Welcome everyone to another episode of Bits and Beyond. Today I'm thrilled to be joined by Mr. Jashid Hameed, the co-founder of Nuvedo, a truly innovative company making waves in the sustainable food space. Mr. Hameed's path has been anything but ordinary, and that's precisely why I'm excited to have him here today to peel back the layers and explore his unique perspective and gain insights into the mind of an entrepreneur afraid to think outside the box. So, Mr. Hamid, without further ado, welcome to the show, and let's dive right in and hear about your incredible journey. So,
Thanks for
on
having me on this on your show.
yes, it's a very great pleasure having you. And just to start on a lighter note, I want to ask you, like, how was your time at BITS? Any memories that you would like to share with us?
Only memories from it, if you ask me. Yeah. So time in college is amazing, right? I look back at it very fondly, and I had a blast those 4 years. It was like a 4 year long party, if you ask me. And I was not even if you cross check with people in my batch, I was not really studious, but somehow managed. So I would describe my 4 years in one word and saying light. So I had a very peaceful and very like well-round time in college. I would say acad's was one thing, but apart from that, I was part of basketball team. I was part of the taekwondo team. I was also in powerlifting. So I spent a lot of my time in pursuing like sports and other stuff. And I was really into art and design as well. I was in spons, in Department of Sponsorship and
Yeah,
Marketing. So I think back then they really pushed me to. They saw that I had some artistic talents, and they really pushed me to sort of explore that. So for all the 4 years I've been on campus, all 4 years the Oasis T-shirt design was by me actually. I made the official merchandise for the festival for 4 years, and I really had a good time doing that. And uh, you know, apart from that, so many amazing memories. My entire room always is filled with artwork. I every year I had to repaint it, but then I come back from vacation, it's painted white again. But I used to have a lot of really cool artwork on my wall. Spent a lot of time traveling in and around Rajasthan, Himachal, Uttar Pradesh, then Uttarakhand. So college really sort of gave me that time to explore. But no, I don't have like a single moment that I want to, pick out and revisit, but all in all, it was amazing. There's so many beautiful moments from college.
so, not the question that I have listed, but I was looking at the logo of Nuvedo, and also I looked through your LinkedIn profile, and like I noticed that you were the head of design for Spawns. So, like your interest for design, has that influenced the logo of Nuvedo? Because it's very artistic, it's very colorful, and it's something that not like in today's world not much startups have such a creative logo. I feel like um, there's mushrooms, there's a lot of color into it.
Right.
So have you created that logo?
Yes and no. I was part of the process, you can say. The vision was a shared vision from the entire team and our community. And I think now I've taken a step back. Possibly, you can say, you know, I enjoy facilitating designers in some sense. I was definitely part of the design process, but as a designer or artist myself, I would say that the best thing you can do for an artist or a designer is to leave them alone and allow them to do their own thing, right? So I was working with a very close friend of mine, Shika, who I happened to meet in my previous organization, and she is super talented, and she is the one who essentially created the whole identity of the brand. And the beauty of it was that we brainstormed, we gave her the vision. It's like we told her what we want our baby to look like in some sense, and we were able to communicate that vision, and she did her own thing with it, and it came out amazing. So I played a small role in the ideation stage and possibly giving some suggestions here and there, but the credit for all the design and the visualization goes to Shika, who's our head of design in Nuvedo. But I
Great.
enjoyed the process a lot.
Yeah, that's really nice. Actually, I really like the logo of Noedu. It's very intriguing.
No, thank you.
Yeah. So, my next question is, how did BITS play a role in shaping your entrepreneurial journey? Because like BITS is known to have a cultural, entrepreneurial culture. So, like, did that help, or like your future experiences or your past experiences helped you, like before BITS and after BITS?
Right. Before bits was school time, so I'm sure all the experiences that I've had till now played some role in what is happening right now. But if I look at just bits, I would say that bits, it gives you the time and space to sort of explore yourself, your own personality. You're not showing up to class because there's attendance. You go there because you want to, right? There's nobody there to check what you're doing, or if you're going to class, if you're studying, if you're doing this, that. So I feel like you get a slice of the real world there. You get to be an adult, right? You have to take care of yourself. You have to manage your academics. You have to manage your sports. It's up to you finally what to do there. And I feel like when you're given that kind of freedom at a really young age, you develop as an individual. So that is one of the biggest things that university as the college has done for me is sort of help me discover myself or help me discover the things that I'm not or what I like, experiment essentially. But I would say bits made me a generalist, right? Yeah, it made me really good at doing many different things. And I'm also not the kind of person who wants to be stuck doing the same thing. I get bored with monotonous tasks, and then it becomes really hard for me. That's something that I know about myself. And college used to give me that freedom to do many things at the same time. And I feel like when you're an entrepreneur, that's a very important skill set because you need to be juggling so many different things, especially in the early stages when you're just starting out. You have to juggle a lot of different things, and I think Bits gave me the space to do that. And funny thing I'll tell you is, I never in my life first thing I didn't think that I would become an entrepreneur. And the second thing is, I never thought. So I did my undergrad in manufacturing engineering. Okay. So I never thought that I'll apply these concepts ever in my life again. I didn't want to get into a core field. I thought I'll do an MBA and do something in sales and marketing. That was the vision that I had in university, in college. But very funny how life comes back, and now I had to revisit some of the stuff that I learned in manufacturing, like it's lean manufacturing and Toyota production system and all those books that I used to use and notes I had made. I had to revisit it, and I was actually happy I took those I don't know why I took those electives back in college, but I'm kind of happy I did take those courses, because it really did help me when I was setting up operations for our unit.
So you took electives like your Dells. I'm not sure if they were called the same back then, like electives related to manufacturing
Right,
engineering.
right, right. You have electives for core and you have other ones, right? So
Yeah,
for
yeah, yeah.
core, I had done lean manufacturing and Toyota production system and things like that.
Yeah, actually, that's really insightful because most of us, including me, most of us don't want to pursue our careers in our branch,
Right,
and completing those opels and dells, they are just kind of a formality.
correct.
But knowing that those courses really helped you, it's actually very motivating to study them properly because otherwise it's like it's a formality.
I understand. Yeah, I was there too, and I feel like most of the people in the batch won't agree with me when I say this, but there'll be those select few. But see, the funny thing is that there were people who knew exactly what they wanted in college itself. They
Yeah.
knew that they wanted to get into this company. They wanted this profile, so they were very clear what not Dell's, the other electives that they wanted to do. They were very clear that okay, I want to do one from computer science. I want to do something this. This is the precursor to this. I'll do this in third year and fourth year. most of us, at least me, I was clueless, third, fourth year about what life is going to be after college and like what does it look like. Many of them had it like completely planned out. I was not one of those guys. I was still exploring and trying to figure things out, you know. So yeah, who knows? Maybe they'll come in handy. So maybe like 10 years down the line, you shouldn't call me and say, hey, listen, man, I did well in my electives, but unfortunately, I didn't use any of that. So may or may not work. So I don't know. Try to do
Fair,
some nice courses that you have some interest in. I would say.
fair. So, like my next question is, after graduating from BITS Pilani and IIM Indore, and then spending 4 years in the corporate world, what motivated you to co-found Nuvedo?
I think it was a bunch of different things. First thing is I wanted to create some impact. I was making impact in the previous organization also, but I was in the space of fast fashion, and I'm a very environmental, like I'm very conscious about the environment, and I love nature. I love spending time outdoors. That is one of the things I love about BITS. That when everybody used to go for their Diwali vacation, I'm from Kerala, so it doesn't make any sense going and coming back. So we used to just take off and go do some hikes or some treks somewhere, stay for 4 5 days in some remote place. And most of the time we were on a very tight budget, so we would do like hitchhiking or find some jugaad and some figure out some place to stay. I invested slowly collected my pocket money and invested it in some nice camping gear and all. So I had all the things ready with me. So I used to love nature. So when I came here and I started working, initially it was all new for me, and the first 2 years is always great because it's new and you're learning and you're seeing the impact of your actions. And I'm seeing my leadership style, like how do I manage a team, how do I get things done. But once all the newness disappeared, the impact of my actions started hitting me really badly. Like I'm selling things that are not meant to last, right? That are not meant to last to people and selling it in a way that they buy more of this, and it was not aligned with my values. And I wanted to do something which where I could every day be very sure that I did my best for something that is doing good for the larger community. So that was the main objective. The main motivation was to do something that had like the goodness of mankind or the environment at heart. And second thing was I wanted to do things my way. My leadership style, I understood over the 2 years that I worked in corporate was very unconventional. And one thing is, if you're in an organization, you have to be aligned with the way that they work. You cannot be the only one doing your own thing. So I felt like I wanted to create an organization I have, where it sort of is aligned with the way that I see work and how I do things, right? And part of that was working with a group of close people, people who are really good at their things, and also people who I like, who want to spend time with. So, and mushrooms has sort of happened because I knew I was wanting to do something with impact. I wanted to do something in nature, and at the same time that my business partner, life partner Prithvi, both of us were dating at that time, and we both quit our jobs, and we're like, we want to sort of experience the alternative lifestyle. So we started backpacking, and we spent time volunteering different farms across India. We did a permaculture design certifications. So permaculture design is essentially like systems design, where you're building integrated systems which produce more energy than they consume. That systems that can take care of themselves in agriculture and beyond, essentially, right? So that's where we got this mindset of, okay, we can make things circular and we can make a very low impact unit which can produce food. But we quickly realized that if you're going to do organic farming, or if you want to do something on desertified land or something good, it's going to take a really long time. We need to buy land, and it's a lot of hard work. Farming might sound nice on paper and everybody will be like, I want to retire and start my own farm, but we didn't retire, and we went and worked in a farm, and let me tell you, it's not easy. So we were inspired, but we realized that farming might not be what we want to do, but we want to be in this space working with nature. And that's how this mushrooms happened, because both Prithvi and I, we had been using mushroom supplements for a really long time. and we ran out during COVID, and we tried to find some Indian brands. We were not able to find anything. So that rabbit hole sort of led us to find this gap in the market, which is essentially mushroom-based wellness or fungi-based wellness. That's when that part emerged. When we were already looking for it in some sense, and then it was just sort of like the eureka moment. We are like, okay, fine, this is the business that we want to do.
So, like, where did you come about this mushroom supplement thing? Because you said that Indian brands are not doing this. So um, basically, you were using some foreign brands or anything.
Yeah, again, BITS Pilani community, a lot of my friends are abroad now. So when
Yeah.
they travel and they come, we meet every year. I still am in very close touch with most of the people who studied with me. And we try to meet every year. So they always bring some goodies. They bring some cool stuff from the US that they want people to try. And they knew that I was into biohacking and supplements. So they got me some products from the US. I tried them and they were really good. And so yeah, there's a small BITS Pilani connection there also.
That's very interesting. That's actually very interesting. So, when you use those products personally, did you see a change? Because I'll be very honest, there are so many products in the market. Like recently, apple cider vinegar became a very popular thing. Ki you
Right.
use it for fat burn or anything. But most of these supplements, I'm not sure ki how much they work. And
Right.
my parents personally, they are very much against supplements. That they don't want me to use any supplements for anything. They're like a natural fruit cow. But when it comes to like the example that you gave in the Shark Tank pitch, that those Olympic girls
Athletes,
in China, yeah,
Chinese Olympics team.
yeah, that really intrigued me because uh, that was one of a kind uh, experience that I heard from someone.
Right.
So, did you personally feel that difference when you were using those supplements?
Right. But before I take that question, you have to tell your parents something. Huh?
What?
See, the world today it's moved after we've moved away from how we used to grow things or our grandparents used to grow things and how we've become a monoculture using chemical petroleum based agriculture. What has happened is food is not as nutritious as it was earlier,
Yeah,
right?
yeah,
So even though we think that fresh fruits and things that we're eating are giving us all the nutrients that we need, unfortunately we have to eat 10 times the amount or even more for the same nutrition that it had during our
mm,
grandparents' time, right?
mm,
So unfortunately today, if you want to get those what do you say, beneficial minerals and vitamins and minerals and micronutrients and all of those healthy molecules into your body, if you really want that, you have to use supplements, unfortunately. Or you grow your own food, you live in some farm where everything is being grown organically, then you're good to go. But if you're having a busy lifestyle and if you're in a city, if you live life there, just food is sort of not enough anymore, right? So that's something you can tell your parents,
yeah, fair.
right? So then coming to the effects, I feel like from person to person it's different, but I will tell you what I felt. So the first body supplement that I tried was of this mushroom called Ganoderma. It's a Latin name for a mushroom. It's called shiny skin. Gano means shiny and derma means skin. So it's in China. It's called the herb of immortality. It's the most studied mushroom. There's uh, over 50,000, I think, papers published on it. And apart from that, there's around 40 clinical trials. And they are good for all kinds of things, but most popular for two things. One is immunomodulation. It's an adaptogen which helps you boost or soothe your immune system depending on where you are in what's happening with you. For example, if you have an autoimmune condition, you don't want the immune system to be boosted. It has to be soothed. So it does that. And for people who are fighting an infection, it can boost your immune system. So I had really bad allergies after I moved to Bangalore because of all the pollen. So there were days in which I used to wake up and sneeze for 2, 3 hours, and I had to take antihistamines. And this is like a seasonal thing. So a couple of months in a year were like this. So if you've used antihistamines, you know that if you take it, it makes you groggy and a little dull. And if
Yeah,
you use it over extended periods of time, now there's research which is saying that very commonly used antihistamines can give you depression, anxiety, and it can affect your mood and motivation. Long-term use of these things, right? So that was sort of happening with me where I felt like I could only work after half the day was done, after two, three coffees, you know. And once I started using the reishi mushroom extract, my immune system sort of started calming down. And this happened over a period of time. You know, it took some time, over 3 weeks, I could see that change happening. And after I've been regularly using this, I don't take antihistamines, maybe like once or twice a year when it's really bad. But apart from that, I've almost stopped taking them. That's one.
that's yeah, that's a really good use of it because I know most people, especially even my batchies, they have severe allergies. But I think that's one thing that if they come to know about it, then I hope it's used more often.
Right. And even
So
cordyceps, when I started using it, it really helped with all of the same thing with the congestion and things that happen with the respiratory system. It was really good. And my stamina really improved. I started doing like endurance events and I never used to run. But after I started using it within 2 months, I could easily do like a 10K. So, see,
that's
it's not that the cordyceps extract is going to make you run, but if you are running and if you're putting in the hard work, it'll definitely make you give you faster progress essentially. That's
uh,
one thing I want to tell people also that you have to be doing the other things that are required to heal yourself or get better. And if you use mushroom extracts along with that, then definitely it's going to improve your quality of life.
that's something that I'll tell my father because he himself has a autoimmune disease. So he he used to take one injection which used to cost, I'm not sure about the price, but it was 1 lakh per injection.
Oh wow.
And afterwards he came to know about some Indian alternatives for the same medicine which was much cheaper. So if something like that exists in the market, a lot of people can get aware about it and use it instead of spending so much money.
Right. And the funny thing is that all this research is so recent, you know.
Yeah, yeah.
Lot of them happened in around 2010.
Maybe
It's
that's the reason why people don't know about it much.
yeah,
Like,
yeah, 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 exactly. It's just slowly penetrating the market, but in the US and in Europe, it's become very popular now. So any medical store that you walk into, the mushroom extracts are there on the counter. Many beverages, protein powders, and granola, coffees and teas, they all have mushroom and mushroom extracts in the US.
so why is it not the same in India? Like, is it because the research has recently started in India or worldwide? There's a difference in culture.
So I think couple of things. First thing is we're always a few years late to the trend on
Yeah.
anything, right? It has to hit the wall in the US and become a big deal there before it sort of catches up here.
Mhm.
And it's slowly happening. I used to tell people this, you know, when we started Nuvedo, and when we used to search for mushroom extracts on Amazon, a handful of products would pop up. Now there are thousands of results, right? And
Mhm.
most of them are small brands. There are very large brands also who are doing this, like Amway, Patanjali. There are many big brands out there who are using mushrooms in their formulation, but they're just ingredient, one or two as an ingredient in a complex formulation. But I would say that there are many small and medium scale brands which are coming with their own mushroom products. It's just a matter of time before it penetrates into, you know, mainstream brands.
Yeah. Fair. So my next question is, actually this question has been covered in our conversation, but still, so Nuvedu offers a very unique product in the Indian market. So what were the biggest challenges you faced in conceptualizing and launching such a out of the box idea?
Oh, where do I start? So let's look at it one by one. If you want to look at the grow kit, um, first thing is the packaging itself.
Hmm.
The inner packaging, the plastic pack inside that, those are custom made. So finding the right vendors for those. So there are these packets which have a breathable filter which
Hmm.
allows the mushroom mycelium to breathe. So
Hmm.
when you're growing mushrooms, you're essentially growing mushroom mycelium, right?
Okay.
Mycelium is the vegetative part of the mushroom, and the mushroom is like a fruit. It's a reproductive part of this
Yeah.
fungus.
Okay.
So you're growing them in these PP5 plastic, food grade plastic bags. Those bags were not available, so we had to get them custom made for the size that we needed, right? And then the machinery, the protocols, none of that stuff was there. So we had to make our own protocols. We had to customize some of the machinery, find vendors, then find what materials we can use. Even the mushroom spawn, the seeds of the mushroom that go inside it, those are also made by us. Then this is just making the product. The making the product took a really long time to get all these ingredients, but after that it was more about how does it travel,
Hmm.
right? How do we ship this? What's the best way to send this across so that it doesn't get damaged, right?
Hmm.
Then also about finding the right mushrooms for different weather conditions in India. India is so diverse. So we had to come up with a widget where people just enter their pin code and the local weather, and it would tell you from our website what all products work in their location. So first thing is the product itself to launch it was a big. It was crazy. Finding the shelf life of this and understanding what all could go wrong, doing all of that stuff. That was one aspect of it. But introducing this in the market, the marketing side was very challenging because we were in a market that was not familiar with mushrooms and where many people didn't want to eat mushrooms, and that is also the reason why we came up with the growing kits, because we felt like when we're giving you a new ingredient, you're giving you a new thing. Like mushrooms are a thing that people don't even know about. So how do I make that stick? How do I clear the misconceptions? How do I educate you? How do I build a community surrounding this? Because we felt like if you're doing something new, if you're bringing some new ideas to the market, a community centric approach is the best,
True.
right?
Yeah. Yeah.
And that's what we wanted to do. So before we launched the extracts, we wanted to make sure that we had our group of mushroom lovers or the myco community sort of ready, willing to take this information from us and passing it on to their, so they're the mushroom crazy person in their house or in their friends group, right? That one person who's crazy about mushrooms. So how do you find these people? You find them by giving a crazy mushroom product, which is the mushroom growing kit. So people who are obsessed with mushrooms and are curious about it, they want to grow it. So this, the first 2 years of us just selling mushroom growing kits and also teaching people how to grow mushrooms sort of allowed us to bring this community together and give them all the material and resources that they need to educate themselves. And once that was happening, then slowly we prepared ourselves for the mushroom extracts. But behind all of this, the product side was very challenging. Even the mushroom extraction, how do you do the extraction? So we had to work with a biotech company and we did a project with them where they developed the formulation for the extract, the extraction technology. Behind this, us growing the mushrooms, importing different strains from around the world, us going to different forests across India, trying to hunt wild mushrooms and bring them back to our lab and grow them here, right? So challenges were plenty when we started this, but I think that's also what made it fun, because everybody who's working with me, they're all very competitive people and they like to do stuff that nobody has done before, so that sort of gets everybody going.
Yeah. So you personally went in like forests and you picked out mushrooms because, as far as I know, mushrooms can be poisonous as well.
Good
And
question.
yeah, so how did you differentiate between what's right and what's wrong?
So first thing is less than 1% of mushrooms out there are toxic. Less than
Oh,
1%, right?
okay.
And most of the time they grow in the certain company of certain trees. They're many of them are symbiotic, so they grow with certain trees.
Hmm.
And many of the other mushrooms, it might make you sick, but you won't die from it. But any mushroom you can touch. You can touch any mushroom. That does nothing happens to you. As long as you don't swallow it or it doesn't go inside your digestive tract, you're fine. And unfortunately, there are no rules of thumb when it comes to identifying mushrooms. You can't say that all colorful mushrooms are toxic, or there's nothing like that. The most toxic mushrooms are either white or gray, you know. So you can't really have any rules of thumb, but we knew what we were looking for. So we have a team in which people are very qualified. They know how to identify mushrooms. Mushroom identification is a science and an art. So you look at macro characteristics, like macromorphology is what it's called. The shape of the cap and how close are the gills spaced. What's the shape of the spores under the microscope? What is the color of the spores? Where did we find it growing? What was the habitat? So all of these things you have to sort of document, and then finally you send it for sequencing. After DNA sequencing is when you can tell for sure that okay, this is the mushroom that I'm looking for, or I want.
That's a very extensive process.
Yeah, it
Like,
is.
yeah,
So we
like
have people in our team who love doing this. This is their uh, this is their dream come true for them to be in the forest and find wild mushrooms and bring them back and work with it. So we are very lucky that we have people in our team who are very passionate about this and who really want to do this. So it's nice.
so. But how did you find a team of such people? Because what happens is, like, your idea is actually very out of the box. But even if for a simple idea, like in our college only, if I want to start something of my own, that is not very out of the box. It's very simple, but still like I have a problem in finding my people, like
Mhm.
whom with whom my interests align and with whom I can work with. So how do you like find people with such a specific skill?
I was very lucky because core team are all close friends. Friends from school, friends from travel, friends I've met along the way through college, different things. And the funny thing is that when we started working on Nuvedo, many of them were doing their own thing in mushrooms. How did that happen? I don't know. Right? That's very fascinating, but nobody has the answer to that question of why were they experimenting with mushrooms. Something was happening at like a global level where people are getting interested in this, and it happens sometimes, right? And they were doing their own thing, and I reached out to some heard about this and they reached out saying, hey man, I heard you're doing this, can I be a part of this? Others were already doing this and I reached out and I'm like, hey, I'm thinking I'm doing something like this, would do you want to come on board and help me? So finally all the people who are really into this, they sort of came together, and I feel like they were all there for the mushrooms finally. Okay, I was sort of the thread that joined this together in the beginning, but one thing was all of them were passionate about mushrooms in their own way, and Nuvedo as an organization allowed them to explore this space in their own ways. Like Vyoma, chief cultivator, he loves growing mushrooms, so we gave him the best facility to do that,
Hmm.
right? Gave him all the tools and all the technology that he needs to sort of go as deep as he wants in that space, and then said these are your deliverables and this is what you do, and that's he loves that. Srikant, who handles marketing, for him it is a challenge. How do you take somebody who doesn't like mushrooms and make them like it? What are the things that we can do? So one of the things was Indianizing recipes.
Okay.
So one thing that we realized is that people don't want to eat exotic mushrooms because they don't know what to do with it, and they don't want to make Japanese food with miso or all of this exotic ingredients. They want to make things that are easy that they can make at home and has some amount of familiarity. So we started making like mushroom chaat, mushroom masala dosa, and different curries and things like that. So he had a great time coming up with these very unique recipes, and he used to love cooking and he used to love shooting, making videos also. So he did the whole thing himself. So we had each person in our team who was attracted to mushrooms in their own way, and this space allowed them to explore it. It was a lot of luck, I would say.
That's actually very exciting to hear about. So moving on to my next question, what advice would you give to aspiring entrepreneurs, with especially those with unconventional idea like yours? Because like entrepreneurship comes with its fair share of ups and downs. So
Right.
what keeps you motivated and driven, especially during challenging times?
My personal thing is the impact. Uh, I'm constantly reminded of the impact that we're making in people's lives or for the environment, and that's because of our community. And they keep sharing feedback. We get feedback from people's parents, from people themselves about how it has improved their life and how they're sleeping better now, and how they're able to focus better at work, or how they had long COVID symptoms and all of those have disappeared, and how a dad has become feeling much better after his COVID episode. So we keep getting all these messages of positivity from the community. That's what sort of keeps me going on the days that are hard. And this space also allows me to explore in my own way, right? So I'm really happy that I get to wake up every day and work on something that I truly and honestly connect to at all levels. This is not just a money making enterprise. It allows me to explore the space in many different ways. It's also like a creative pursuit in some way, right? It's multi-disciplinary art project in some sense, right? You're working with um, many different fields, many different departments, and put everything together and make something really unique because this hasn't been done before and there's no path to do this. So I get to do that every day, which I feel is a privilege. So I remind myself of the privilege that I have to do this, and also the impact that I'm making. And this is what sort of motivates me on the days that things are not going well. But I'll tell you one thing: the biggest learning, which again I knew from earlier, but it's become more and more concrete while I do this, is you have to take care of your health.
Hmm. True.
If you're not feeling great here, if you're feeling things are really stressful and if you're not feeling great inside in your body, if you're not, your energy levels are low, you're feeling sick, you're feeling lethargic, you don't feel great physically, then it's very difficult to manage, right? You can
Yeah.
have your ups and downs are part of this, but if you have your practice, if you have some exercise, your diet is taken care of. I know that startup culture and the hustle culture, people sort of glorify it, saying that hey, we work and we sleep only 3 hours a night and everything, but I am not for that. When you really have to do it, there have been nights when you've stayed up the whole night, put in all nighters. I had to drive to the post office at 2 a.m. and stand and send out 300 parcels and things. We have done everything, right? But we didn't do it because it's the way to do it. Sometimes you just have to. You just have to pull up your socks and get stuff done sometimes, and that in that you have to get out of your comfort zone. But the other time, I would say make health your top priority. There are certain things that you should not compromise on, like making sure that you get X amount of exercise in the week, or making sure that at least couple of times, 2 meals a day are home cooked. Hire a cook, hire somebody to take care of all of these things. But the biggest thing is mental and physical health. If these two things are not on your side, especially if you are the person leading the team and you are that person, if these two things are not working for you, then life is going to be 10 times more difficult just as it is. So that's something that I want to say. And another thing that I want to say is trust your gut feeling. Fine, you see all the reports and the data and all of the sheets and everything, but India's a country where people have been doing dhanda and business way before the IIMs and the BITS Pilanis came, right? And they've been doing business intuitively for many years. No matter how many Excel sheets and graphs you show all the veterans of business, most of the decision comes from the gut because they understand the business better than anybody else does. So I feel like you know certain things. You should be your intuition should be strong. Take some bets, trust your gut, and have faith in your idea. Don't let anyone change it. There will be many people who come with inputs who want to change your idea, but I would say stick with it and make sure you do everything to see if it works or not. After you've done everything and it doesn't work, fine. It might not be feasible, but till that point, you have to be a little bit stubborn and headstrong and stick with your own idea.
So, but what I feel like you're right about this. I also go with my intuition a lot of times, like on big decisions of life. Like, for example, while choosing my college college. So also I'm a dropper. So
Yeah, same.
when I was planning, oh nice. So when I was planning to take a drop, my whole family was pretty much against it, and only my father was the one who was supporting me. And then I took a drop eventually, and at the end of it, I was stuck between IIT BHU Metallurgy and BITS Pilani ENI. And my father, he was like, "कि नहीं IIT जाना है, IIT जाना है." But for some reason, I didn't want to go to IT at that point. And मैं जिद करके किसी तरह like I just कि नहीं मैं बिट्स ही जाऊंगी. So that was just a decision for myself. But then when you work for an organize when you work with a team, when you work with an organization, and where money is involved, and money you are responsible for. So how do you like keep your gut instinct um, in a way that doesn't hamper the business side of it? Because when money is involved, things become a little I mean, from how do I express it? But
Serious.
when money is involved, then it's not just your decision. It's
No, no,
also
I know what
about
you're
the
saying.
people
I know what
around.
you're saying. So first thing is, if you're working for somebody, this is a hard thing to do, huh? And your track record should be good. You should have done enough wild stuff there with your gut instinct that they were like, "हाँ ठीक है, चलो इसको करने दे." Right? You have to have that rapport with your boss or your superior, whoever it is who you're working with, where they know that, listen, this boy he works like this, right? And also the numbers, right? Fine, it's your gut instinct, but most of the time you can always find some things to justify what you're doing. You can always bring in the math to make a justification of what you're going to do. Most of the time, if you can support your ideas with some math, with the numbers, they're like, "हाँ, चलो ठीक है." But certain things, you just do it, right? And this is something that you can do if it's your own company,
Hmm.
and you get better at doing it. It's not like every time you'll be right.
Hmm.
So sometimes the stakes are very high, and then you take a thing, and then things don't work out, and then it comes back to you. But it doesn't mean that you don't stop trying. And it's like any muscle in your, it's like any other thing. The more you do it, the more you tune it, the better you get at it. And I think the biggest thing that stops us from doing that is fear. We're
Hmm.
so scared that, oh damn, what if things go wrong? Things go wrong, they go wrong. You try your level best to make your decision level-headedly, try to get the data or bring in people who have that analytical mindset who can support your thought process with the data so it makes business sense. But then there's no answer to your question. Sometimes you just do it, and many times you fail. Right? You should be okay with that. I feel like it depends on the person whether you finally will go back home and be like, at least I tried, or will you beat up yourself saying that, damn, I should have listened to that guy. So it totally depends on who you are as a person.
Yeah. Uh, okay, so my next question is, firstly, I want to congratulate for your appearance on Shark Tank, and I want to ask you, like, what was the experience like, and how did it impact Nuvedo?
The experience as it is was very stressful. Okay, so interview process, applying, many in-person interview was there where we had to do the pitch, and then they called us to Bombay. So one thing is that they're extremely vague.
Okay.
They don't tell you anything. Then you go there, they don't tell you what happens over the next 4 days. First day, the business team comes and they look at your data and everything. They're like, "हाँ हाँ चलो ठीक है." And then they'll do your pitch. When are you calling us for the pitch? We'll tell you. We'll tell you. We'll tell you. This we'll tell you goes on for 3 days, right? And they call you and they'll make the pitch for you. And then they call you and they're like, "No, no, we're changing this." And 10 minutes later, they're like, "No, actually, you know what? That was better." And then this thing keeps happening till the day before the shoot, right? You don't have you. Most of the brands get the pitch possibly 24 hours before they shoot. 24, maximum 36 hours before they shoot. And then parallelly, all the brands who have a display, we're a small team, and we were pulled out of a trade show that we were attending in Delhi. That was the same weekend that this shooting was happening. So out of the three people, two people now are coming to Bombay, and the third person was there alone. So I had to call my friends and send them for. as representatives of Nuvedo. So the full team was sort of here and there, right? It got split up. So we didn't have anybody back in the office to sort of send us the videos or this or that or edit it. All of this editing and chopping together and putting it in the right sizes and formats, all of those things are also happening on set. And we are talking to the visual merchandising person who's making the set display, coordinating with him also. So all of these things were happening at the same time, and it's also hitting you that, oh damn, I'm going to be on TV tomorrow, and there's no trial, right? You just go on stage, and everything is just grand and it's very big, so it's kind of stressful. I think the last time I felt stressed like this was when I was writing JE or BITSAT or something. So it was very stressful, but the crew, the Shark Tank crew, shout out to them. They took very good care of us. They will always make sure we were eating on time, and they're very sweet for all our requests and making sure that we are not stressed out. And they're doing their best to accommodate everybody's request. So it was nice to see how like media and entertainment works. And I have newfound respect for people who come on TV because they're just there, and it's just extremely stressful and super hectic. Things are happening like 24/7. Once you step inside the set, you don't even know what time it is because it's just a huge black room. There's no source of light inside, and you don't have your phone or your watch. So you technically don't know how long you've been in there and what has happened. So overall, it was a stressful experience, but I learned a lot. And on stage was fun because it was my domain. So when we were actually pitching to the Sharks, I didn't feel stressed or nervous at all because it was things that I already knew about. It was subject matter, it was mushrooms, so there was no stress. This is language was a barrier, but being in Pilani for so many years, I think I managed. I was able to speak decent Hindi only because of my Pilani days.
No, I mean, like your pitch was like pretty good, to be honest. I think that after this interview, I can especially say that that 10-12 minute pitch didn't justify the business that you were trying to pitch in there.
Right, and we
So,
shot for very long, by the way.
how
It
long
was
was the pitch like actually?
couple of hours we shot for. The actual pitch was for 2 minutes, but the 2 minutes was recorded two times because they wanted to change some words and things inside that, and then finally they stitched up and made their own pitch. It is not even what I actually said there.
Oh, so like the actual pitch, I mean the actual pitch and the pitch that was aired on TV. It was basically a combination of two, three pitches.
Yeah, two pitches they cut and sort of put together to make it that.
Oh, damn. I mean, that's, I didn't know that that happened
Yeah,
because,
it's edited. So a lot of the stuff that we said was not shown. A lot of the things that we said in the pitch was not shown. The pitch itself was changed. So
matlab, they have actually like tried to add a lot of music, a lot of, expressions. I know that that does not actually happen there, but from a viewer's perspective, I can get it. But
it's a
anyway,
TV show finally, right? And they have to get people to watch.
yeah, I mean, they have to
Like
increase
drama,
the viewership. True.
right?
So, beyond the immediate media buzz, did appearing on Shark Tank lead to meaningful connections with the customers, the clients, and other angel investors?
Absolutely, actually. So we mushrooms got a flag on that show, right? It's not just me, but we actually used the opportunity in the pitch to pitch mushrooms and not Nuvedo.
Hmm.
The first main most of the pitch was about mushrooms, right?
Hmm. Hmm.
Yes, there's parts of it what makes a brand unique, but we wanted to use this opportunity on national television to educate consumers about mushroom as a food product or as a health product, and essentially I think we succeeded at that. And then when they made some remarks about mushrooms not having any market and this that, the community came up finally. They stood up for us. We got thousands of messages from people saying that, hey, I've been following. It's like when thunder and lightning come up, your mushrooms pop up, right? So this was the thunder and lightning, and all the mushrooms popped up around India, and they all called us and said, congrats. This is the first time someone took this to national TV, and I'm so happy that someone finally said all this stuff on TV, so that more people can get to know. So we had a lot of those people coming and supporting us, saying, "Hey, he made that remark about people going to space. What can we say about that? Right? What can we do about that?" And I said, "Okay, clearly people don't understand how much cutting edge research is going on behind mushrooms and fungi. Why don't we like make some social media posts about it, and we'll make it and you guys share it." So a lot of ideation, creation, all of these things happen from the community, right? We say community, community finally, but they all show up and when something goes down. And this went down, and they were all there, and lot of what do you say, inquiries from angel investors, and we are getting lot of investors who are reaching out, HNIs and other people who not your typical investors, sort of like the vision that we have, and they want to support us. Then good connections, yeah, people who want to help us expand overseas. Stalled old connections which had stalled. People had stopped responding to our emails and phone calls, and now suddenly there's revived interest in working with us. So overall, a lot of really good things came out of Shark Tank.
I mean, I saw the Shark Tank pitch. Like, I follow Shark Tank on YouTube randomly. So I came across that pitch, and before speaking to you, I came across that pitch. And then while researching, like while I was going through your LinkedIn profile, I saw that post about this ki space mein kaise, how can you grow mushrooms and all. And I was like, that's actually very creative because people, I don't know why they perceive it in a bad way, but you may like the company making a very good use out of that statement. That's very rare to see.
Right, because finally that is just a sign that even really educated people who are doing great in life, they don't know about this, right? Then something's not right. That means that this message is not reaching them. And it's nobody's fault. So we thought that it's a very, very good opportunity to make some good educational content around this so people can understand what's happening in this space and not be so ignorant.
True, right? Uh, so, like, what are the future plans for Novedu? Like, do you envision your product? Do you envision in expanding your product line or venturing into new markets or anything?
Right. So first obvious thing is the overseas expansion. That's also one of the feedback that we got from the tank. Piyush had told us that I think you guys have a really good product, and but our country is not prepared for this yet. And this wellness and mushroom trend, I think, is big in the US. Why don't you guys think of exports? Exports and overseas markets is definitely on the cards. Another approach that we're doing to introduce mushrooms and make them more mainstream is co-developing products with big brands. So people love chocolate, they love soft drinks, they love different coffee, this, that, all the products that they love. Now you're gonna see a lot more partnerships and collaborations with Nuvedo in this coming year, where we try to infuse really mainstream products with mushrooms in them, right? And I feel like that's one way of getting them to more people, not just people who like mushrooms, but people who like coffee, people who like chocolate, people who like beverages. So we're finding ways to infuse different products with mushrooms, and that's also one of our strategies going forward. That if you're a brand which wants to make revolutionary products with mushrooms in them, then we are the people who can make it happen for you, right? And we are very close to the consumer because of our products, and we know what they like about mushrooms or what they want about mushrooms. So this combination, I think, is it's amazing because we have insights from D2C,
Hmm.
which help develop better products in B2B or B2B2C.
So basically now you are like more you will be moving towards B2B. Like you will be
Not
collaborating.
collaborative space will be B2B2C sort of. We'll be leveraging the sales and networking, sales and distribution channels that already the other brands have, but the product will be owned by both parties.
Okay. So sir, Prithvi has one question for you.
Yeah, sure.
Prithvi, if you can turn on your camera. Just one second. Prithvi, can you hear me? Yeah.
Yeah. Can you hear me?
Yeah, yeah, we
Yeah.
can. Hey, Prithvi.
Yeah. So, sir, my question was basically that as time passes, people are adopting a more of a like a self-sustaining approach where they grow their own food. They like we've seen the rooftop agriculture come trending around, and people also starting to move to the countryside. And even your motivation initially was somewhat similar, where you wanted to figure out a particular pipeline where a proper healthy mushrooms can be produced. So my question basically was, do you see yourself adopting the same independent path somewhere in the
Mhm.
future? And maybe like if you hadn't had that intention of having a social impact, maybe do you think you would have adopted that independent path?
I think so, man. Because if COVID taught us anything, it's finally where's your food coming from? Or do you have food on your plate, right? Where's your medicine? Where's your food coming from? Are you healthy? And where are the people who are around you? Who, what is family? All of these questions were sort of brought to our attention, then we had to address it and sort of think over it for 2 years, right? Finally, then people realize that food is very important and where it comes from is really important too. And finally, that's all you need. If you have family with you, you have good food to eat, and your health is good, then most of the stuff is already taken care of, and everything is above that. And whatever is above that, if these basics are not taken care of, then there's no point, right? So if you ask me, I still see myself doing that, but it's possibly going to be a more of a lifelong project where I work on a piece of land and grow my own food or get into small scale agriculture in a community oriented fashion. So yeah, I see myself doing that in the, what do you say, future, when the time and space allow me to do that. Awesome.
Um, so, sir, I would like to thank you for this amazing episode of Bits and Beyond. And it was really very insightful to talk to you, especially given that I had seen your Shark Tank pitch, and then I pitched you for the podcast. Uh, I have very different perspectives about mushrooms, about the journey that you had. So, thank you so much for being our guest. And it was really nice talking to you.
Thanks a lot for having me, and always happy to speak to young folks from BITS. And I hope you guys have a great time in college and enjoy. Make sure you enjoy all the time that you have there. Make the most of uni and yeah, have a blast in BITS. Maybe sometime when I'm in campus, I'll see you guys.